God bless. My name is Mark Anthony DeBello. This is going to be a brief presentation on my ESP or Extended Strategic Principles program and how it might relate to the broadcast media in any platform, from television to radio to internet. ESP is Extended Strategic Principles. It's an analytical data system and program that I developed that covers all the pro sports, including the European Premier League, Major League Soccer, in addition to PGA, professional golf, NTRA, which is National Thoroughbred Racing Association, and even NASCAR, which is auto racing. You can find some presentation information on the web at nfl-esp.com or nba-esp.com or ncaa-esp.com. As for a bit of my background, I'm 55 years old and have been studying pro and collegiate sports, which we also cover through our NCAA ESP, which is primarily collegiate football and basketball. And I've been studying sports since age 8, that's 47 years. In high school, I played all the major sports, including running track and field, where I was either an all-league, an all-state, and in some cases an all-American performer. After high school, I attended the University of Miami, where I played football and graduated with a degree in broadcast communications. In 2000, I created and developed the ESP, or Extended Strategic Principles program, first and primarily for the National Football League, and then collegiate football, and then the NBA. But again, we cover all the major pro sports leagues, including, as I mentioned, auto racing, horse racing, and golf. The ESP program is basically broken down into 4 components: the spiritual, motivational, X's and O's, and the strategic. Now, the X's and O's is typically play design, and the strategic, which is our primary and exclusive and most productive area of expertise, incorporates a number that we call the power spread. And this power spread is an index or a statistic which we've applied to a model which helps coaches make the best possible and productive and probable basic strategy decisions. In all sports, professionally, it's been proven to increase a team's win production by a minimum of 10 to 15%, and in college sports by a minimum of 10 to 25%. So in 2000, when I developed this system, let me explain to you a little bit about the strategic, and again, the usage of this number called the power spread, which is the most misunderstood, undervalued, and yet accurate and productive number in all of pro and collegiate sports. This power spread is a number that's disseminated and ranks all the pro and collegiate teams, and then we incorporate the differential and then other factors, primarily home court or home field advantage, and that number is disseminated to Las Vegas, where they use and call it a different number or a different spread, a number I seldom or don't like using, because we honestly at NFL or NBA or NCAA ESP believe in the integrity of the game and don't believe everything needs to be monetized or people need to be, and I'll only use these words once, betting or gambling on games. We believe in the integrity of the games, but yet we also know that this data, this statistic, which it is, can help coaches make the most probable and productive basic strategy decisions. With regards to broadcasting, it's a very insightful analysis that people have never heard before. It also relates, because it's so closely associated to the point spread and Las Vegas using our number, to those who have an interest, whether in Las Vegas, overseas, or at their corner with their local you-know-who. It also helps and is applicable to those who play fantasy sports. And any sport that's offered through the fantasy sports sites, let's say DraftKings, or FanDuel, or even Yahoo Sports, it's very insightful, educational, and accurate. Now, let me tell you a little bit of a background on, again, my development of the system in the year 2000. After developing the system, I came up with a concept called a GMC, or Game Management Coordinator, who can relay this data to a head coach at many points during a game, and we call that number the PSI, the Power Spread Index, because based on certain factors like scores or shots or yardage or turnovers, that number is going to change. Thus, your probability is going to change when it comes to making the most productive basic strategy decision. Now again, with regards to the broadcast media, this analysis is very unique and insightful. And this statistic, called the power spread, again, is highly accurate. Now, as it relates to Las Vegas and those who have an interest there, let me tell you a little bit of how this works. When the power spread is distributed to every sports book overseas and in Las Vegas, they process that information they get from us, and then they alter the number, because the goal of Las Vegas is twofold. One, they want to balance the action, because in that way they'll profit no matter who wins or loses, and they take basically a 10% percentage called the vigorish or the juice from the losing wager. So no matter what the handle or the amount of bets, as long as the action is even, Las Vegas will profit 10%. However, what you won't hear anywhere is that Las Vegas, once they get the power spread number, their goal is not always to balance the action. Their goal, more often than not, is to profit from the action, in which case they'll take the power spread and skew it or alter it, knowing that the public has a bias toward popular teams or media-friendly teams, or where they believe they can get away, if you will, by distributing or disseminating a number that they know you'll play into the more disadvantageous or wrong side, if you will, version of that number. So, again, they will take the power spread, they will alter it, then they call it the point spread. They will distribute the point spread, and then typically the professional players or gamblers, and there's only a handful or maybe a dozen of them who are very profound and proficient, they will use a system that they have, an analytical formula for determining what they believe the spread should be, which again is basically not as proficient or effective as the power spread, not as accurate as the spread Las Vegas disseminates or distributes, but is their own version of it, oftentimes using certain algorithms and, computer permutations, whatnot. So then the pros will play into that number, and then Las Vegas will look for a second opinion, if you will, of what the professional gamblers have said, and then redistribute the number or alter it, this being the point spread. Now, as the week progresses, let's say in pro football or collegiate football, or even as the day progresses in basketball or even baseball, the public, who is mostly influenced by the highly inaccurate and inefficient and ineffective, unknowledgeable media, or based on their own opinion or favoritism toward a team or team popularity, will move that number not unlike a barometer or an index as to what the action, quote-unquote, action is, and who the public likes. So Las Vegas will alter, the sports books will alter that number. So by the time it comes game time, that number could be up to double digits off of what the original power spread, which happens to be 90% accurate, all other things being equal, as to the results of every game. So let me give you a quick example on that. We had Denver, the Broncos, in September, rated as a 3-point favorite over any NFC team, and throughout the season, and with Brock Osweiler at quarterback, actually 4.5 points better. So as the season progressed and the matchup looked to be more like Denver and Carolina, even before the Super Bowl, the week before, we reassessed the data and still had Denver as a 3-point favorite. However, Las Vegas disseminated a point spread of Carolina -6, which in our opinion was egregiously inaccurate. Now, as far as a broadcast would go, this might be insightful information to those who want to view the game and then know how we would coach that game from the perspective of, let's say, Carolina, who, not necessarily a favorite, would be an underdog in our eyes. And when you're an underdog, you need to be either aggressive, is a word we commonly use, or manufacture points. Because you need to know that when you're a 3-point underdog going into a game, you do not have a 50-50 chance of winning that game. You basically only have a 40% chance. And head coaches typically go into every game believing they have a 50-50 probability of winning, when that is highly inaccurate in many cases. For example, in pro football, a 7-point underdog only has a 25% chance of winning that game. And thus you have to manufacture, if you will, 7 points in order to just have an even probability of winning. That might mean making aggressive decisions like an onside kick, or going for an additional 4th down, or going for a touchdown instead of a field goal. And then there are other factors that occur during the course of the game, and again, where we alter that number, called the PSI, or Power Spread Index, primarily things like the score, yardage, turnovers, quarterback production, and the previous basic strategy decisions during the game. Like, is a coach kicking too many field goals, or are they attempting too many field goals, or did they fail on a couple of 4th and 1s or whatnot? Same in college football. So having said that, that analysis is very insightful when you wish to view a game and ultimately know what the final result is going to be, again with 90% accuracy. Now again, how it relates to Las Vegas, when you have a surplus of points or a differential like that, it's a very advantageous position to take Denver, the underdog, who's from Las Vegas' perspective is getting 6 points, and we believe all along they're a 3-point favorite. So that disparity can be highly profitable to those who have an interest in Las Vegas. To those in fantasy sports, it's always and also very insightful and accurate, because people don't necessarily handicap, if you will, fantasy sports or study or research it from that perspective, and knowing this single-digit or in some cases double-digit power spread index or the power spread. Again, you would alter who you play or start or draft if you have Denver versus who you had if you had Carolina. So having said that, again, we cover the games from those 4 overall aspects: spiritual, motivational, X's and O's, which is typically play design, and then the strategic, which again incorporates the use of the power spread. So, in closing, on this brief 15-minute presentation, we incorporate our 4 P's into all our analysis of every game, with the ultimate results being those of which are power, prophecy, prediction, and production. Power, from our exclusive power ratings and the differential called the power spread. Prophecy, because we look at things from a spiritual perspective, and we believe math is a language of God's and a way he communicates, and that God is omnipotent, omnipresent, and omniscient. He's all-knowing, he's everywhere, and he's all-powerful. We also, again, cover it from the predictive point of view, because if you're able to make a prediction, you're able to profit, whether that's used in a head coach using our information and our ESP system to make the most productive decisions. And again, we've proven to guarantee and can guarantee an increase in a team's production by 10 to 15%. minimum in the pros and 10 to 25% minimum in collegiate sports. Or the final P, which is, or again, that is the productive. So again, we have the powerful, the prophetic, the predictive, and the productive. And we believe, and I believe, in closing, as your host, this would make for insightful programming through all mass media. Because in closing, I believe there is a great responsibility of the mass media to tell the truth and to be accurate. And the truth is not just someone's opinion, what they believe is their truth. It's the actual factual result. So, thank you for allowing me to make this presentation. If you need more information on me, you may go to markanthonydebello.com. And if you need more information on the ESP or Extended Strategic Principles program, you may go to NFL ESP, NBA-ESP.com, or NCAA-ESP.com. Thank you for your time today, and God bless you.